Hey, food explorers. Have you ever fallen in love with a book? Like, fallen in love. I have fallen in love with a book. This book recently, Bite by Bite, came into my life by Aimee. I am not going to attempt to pronounce this last name. Aimee. I am part of a huge book club. It's a big international book club, and every summer they do a summer reading guide, and every fall they do a fall reading guide. They do all these events and this and that. And this book was on the summer reading guide. And as the person that is the organizer of the Modern Mrs. Darcy book club was describing this book, I immediately was like, this has to be in my life. I have to have this book. When I think about food writing and what I love about food writing, this is it. Everything is in here. As I'm reading the stories, my heart is so happy. And this is the kind of food writing that I strive to do. So each thing in the book, she has beautiful illustration about the subject matter. So apples, cherries, shaved ice, all of these different things. And it's all about memories and little quirky things that you might not have known, maybe some scientific stuff in there as well. Just incredible, beautiful, big cherries. This one so far of all of the stories is my favorite. And it started to get me thinking about my own food writing and my Substack and what I want to create and the kind of conversations that I want to have around food. And at the back of this book, she actually has prompts for writing. And so I started going through the prompts and I started coming up with all these ideas. And it was things where, sometimes you think, my life is boring. Who's going to want to hear about any of this? But as I was reading through her prompts and I was thinking about some of these food stories that I would want to read. And so I wrote 60, I'm looking at my book, I wrote 60 some ideas down. So you're going to start to see these through Substack and YouTube coming up, because some of them are going to be really great for Substack and some of them are going to be really great for YouTube. And I want to kind of be able to, have the different platforms as options for where to kind of create the content around this food writing. As I was reading her story on cherries, it started reminding me of cherries, and I used to live in Ontario. I like to call it Onterrible. I'm sorry if you live there. I didn't enjoy my time there very much. But what I did enjoy about my time was driving to different fruit farms, and I would just buy copious amounts of cherries. There were so many different types of cherries there. And so as I was thinking about this, it was like, oh, that would be an incredible article to write about driving in the countryside, going down the back roads. And you basically pull up to these fruit stands that are just basically off the secondary highway with a sign and a price, and it's honor system. You get your cherries, leave your money, and off you go. And I used to bake cherry pies. I love baking cherry pies. If you give me cherry pie, I'm going to eat the cherry pie. I love it so much. And so it was just really interesting because it was like, it's not just, oh, I really like cherries. Well, what's the story around the cherries? What is the backstory of what it is about cherries? Well, then I have to think back another layer. And like I said, in this book, she has these different writing prompts. So when I think about the cherries and I think back further, okay, what is it about cherries? Cherry blossom. Do you guys remember when cherry blossom was good? Cherry blossom is not good now. If you don't know what a cherry blossom is, it's this dome chocolate, and they're about like that big. So about 3 inches tall, 10 centimeters. And it's a chocolate outer layer with peanuts and then this cherry center. And so it was kind of like the maraschino cherry center. And I love them. So I take the cherries that I used to buy when I used to go down the, secondary highways, make the cherry pies, but then going back further, it was the cherry blossoms. I love the cherry blossoms. Going back further, it was the Quality Street chocolates and pulling out. I would go for, well, I go for the hazelnut and the orange first, and then the strawberry. But so it's all these different food memories, and they all kind of tie together. And then moving forward, how do we move forward and continue on with a story that we can tell about something like cherries? And, I started thinking about some of the fun things that my dad and I used to eat. Like, if we went grocery shopping, we would get sausage rolls, we would get black licorice. We both love Big Turk because Big Turk is the best chocolate bar. Fight me on this. I do not care. I love it so much. It's one of the only mass-produced chocolate bars on the market right now that actually still has chocolate in it. Like, mind-blowing. But the other thing that I loved about this book, so not only the beautiful illustrations, vanilla, beautiful illustrations, incredible stories, she had a really comprehensive suggested further resources reading at the back of the book. And as I was going through these, further readings and resources, more than half of these books and authors I had never heard of before. So typically what I do with books when I'm, just like completely in love with a book, I start to do a little bit of digging further, but I will open up my library app. I'm a huge library user. I love the library. I have a lot of cookbooks as well. So if it's like, no, I have to own it, then I'm going to buy it. But I started opening up the library app and started downloading a whole bunch of books that she'd actually suggested in here. And then I'm going through them because, as I'm sort of developing a better skill of writing, like, thank goodness I've got super editor Jason upstairs to take the scrambles in my brain and turn it into beautifully cohesive stories. But as I'm going through all of that, it's really fun to see a progression in a story and see where these other resources can come in and give me other ideas and more inspiration. And so you're going to see some of that coming forward and more book reviews, but just this book, I heart it so much. I'm hugging it. So it's a beautiful cover, beautiful illustrations, and she's a really interesting writer. I actually have one of her other books. It's coming. I'm in line for it at the bookstore. But she wrote a book called World of Wonders, and it's another essay style book, and it's all about the natural world, but animals. So obviously right up my alley as well. And where I'm sitting here in my tasting room with all my shelves of books around me, I have some feature books. I have Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkinson. And that book, again, is one of those books where I just absolutely fell in love with it. So I'm going to do a little review on that book coming up. So we're going to have some more book reviews on this channel because I think it's really interesting to look at food writing, food memoirs, cookbooks, and all these things that are around food and how beautiful they can actually be. So, Bite by Bite, Aimee, last name starts with an N. I'm not going to pronounce it. Yeah, we're just not going to even try here. But a beautiful, beautiful book. If you want something that's going to inspire you and make your heart very happy, I 100% 5 stars, highly recommend this book. So hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, because you're going to want to make sure that you don't miss any upcoming videos, especially if you're a book lover and you want to know more bookish, delightful books that you should have on your shelf or grab from your library. Thanks, everyone.